What is up, everyone? DarkSidePhil here, and this video is a way for me to kind of add my 2 cents, give a little bit of my expertise and my experience on the whole where's the fair use or hashtag WTFU movement that is currently taking hold on YouTube for about a week now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically as of the past week, it has become a huge issue on YouTube for more and more YouTubers, including big YouTubers, that the copyright enforcement policy on YouTube is just out of control, all right? There's no real checks and balances for this thing. People have been abusing the system left and right. People are getting their channels shut down. Videos are getting copyright claimed. People are losing the entire ability to monetize their videos because of these claims. Now, this would be fine if these claims were actually correct in a legal sense. The problem is YouTube's system for instituting copyright claims against videos is incredibly broken. It doesn't actually require any concrete proof whatsoever that the person who uploaded that video that's claimed to be infringing has done anything wrong whatsoever, and it's basically a guilty until proven innocent system. I personally have been negatively affected by this system in many ways over my 8+ years on YouTube. I'd like to recap a little bit about that right now and then give you a little bit of my take on this whole movement near the end of the video. So for those who don't know, I've actually been on YouTube since 2007 with my original channel DarkSidePhil, and I used that channel actively from around 2007 until around early 2010. At that time, I hadn't monetized any videos or anything like that. I was just doing raw gameplay with commentary over it. It wasn't even direct capture gameplay. It was me kind of aiming a camera at my television, and it was very rudimentary, but it caught on, it went viral, and it became very popular. I first had issue with copyright stuff in early 2009 when I did a playthrough of Grand Theft Auto 4's first DLC, The Lost and Damned. And as it was released on release week, I recorded all these videos, I uploaded them. Within one day, they had been flagged and taken off of my YouTube channel, DarkSidePhil, claiming that Rockstar Games had instituted a copyright claim against the videos. Now, back then, I wasn't monetizing. You basically couldn't monetize video game footage on YouTube, and I was nervous. I didn't know what to do. What actions could I actually take in regards to copyright strikes against my channel? So I kind of just let it stand. The videos basically just were made unavailable for anyone to view. I never disputed the claims initially because I did not want a chance having my YouTube channel shut down just when it was gaining momentum during that course of time, and I pretty much just let it be. Now, years later, after I understood the copyright system a little better, I actually went back and disputed those claims, and they were all cleared up. So it remains to be seen, or even known, were those actually legitimately placed on that playthrough by Rockstar Games, or was it someone else abusing the system? See, back then we didn't know how bad the system was, now we do, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that right now. So it was around April 2010, I was doing a playthrough of a Splinter Cell game on the DarkSidePhil channel. And after about 2 days of putting out footage, I got more copyright strikes against DarkSidePhil, supposedly for the playthrough of the Splinter Cell game. Now, the copyright strikes claimed that they had been issued by Ubisoft, and actually stated that, I guess, Ubisoft had said, since they are the publisher of the Splinter Cell games, that this was infringing of their copyright rights and they wanted the videos taken down. The problem was, I already had the pre-existing strike for Grand Theft Auto, The Lost and Damned, and therefore it accumulated and ended up shutting down DarkSidePhil. The channel was actually not visible and defunct, and even had a big message saying this channel's been shut down for copyright reasons. And this was actually at a time when I was becoming increasingly more popular for playing games such as Street Fighter 4, and people were pretty furious that this had happened. So at that period of time, I decided to design a new strategy. I would have a new channel called DSP Gaming. I would have a new channel called DSP Street Fighter, where I would do fighting game footage, and the rest is history. As of right now, I still do business on DSP Gaming. But my viewers and fans went over to the Ubisoft forums and bombarded them with messages saying, why would you take down DarkSidePhil doing a playthrough of your Splinter Cell game? It's free publicity, it's protected under fair use because it's a transformative work. You don't know what you're doing. How dare you? Well, come to find out, one of the moderators on the forum saw these hundreds of messages, went to actual Ubisoft management. Management reviewed it internally and said, we didn't issue any copyright strike against DarkSidePhil. We don't know what that is. So they had their reps in turn contact YouTube behind the scenes, and they worked out that it actually was not Ubisoft that had put these claims against me. It was a third party who used the name Steve Jones, which later became infamous in my content and all over on the internet as someone who's an infamous guy who's flagged you for copyrights. He had impersonated an Ubisoft employee. Somehow he had pulled the wool over YouTube's eyes, convinced them he actually worked for Ubisoft. They believed him for whatever reason and actually shut down my YouTube channel because of completely falsified claims. So obviously, I disputed the claims and they were cleared up within 2 weeks. But that was my first taste of massive copyright abuse on YouTube and seeing the fact that there is glaring problems with the system. How on earth did YouTube think that this guy was legitimate when obviously he wasn't? Ubisoft said absolutely not. He didn't present supposedly any evidence and they just believed him. Again, guilty until proven innocent, and it wasn't the first time. Over the years, there have been a few blips and glips here or there that usually I've been able to clean up, but the most glaring one that happened next was actually in December of 2013, when YouTube decided they were going to change the Content ID matchmaking system in regards to copyrights on YouTube, but didn't tell anyone. They literally in mid-December said, we're going to flip a switch. We're not going to tell YouTube content creators. We're not going to tell partnership companies. We're just going to flip a switch. No input from anyone. We don't care what anyone else has to say. And if you don't like it, tough. What ended up happening was anyone on YouTube who had gameplay videos from certain companies and or had certain music, certain visuals, whatever these things were, automatically had their videos Content ID flagged. Now, this is different from a copyright strike because this identifies that there's a piece of copyrighted work in your video. It doesn't necessarily shut the video down, although in some cases it does. It'll make that video blocked worldwide. It might mute the audio of a video if it thinks that there's a song in there that's copywritten. But for the most part, what ends up happening is you lose all advertising rights on your videos. So just imagine if you have been working on YouTube for years, you've got a big body of work, you've got videos that go viral and get millions of views, and those videos now you've lost all advertising rights on them just because there was some kind of a Content ID match. The problem with this system is that it doesn't factor in anything to do with fair use at all. If it's a review, let's say you're doing a movie review and you have clips of the movie in it, that's legally protected under fair use. But YouTube system doesn't care and still Content ID flagged everyone. If you're doing a Let's Play, if you're doing a video game review, if you're doing a montage, if you're doing anything that's considered a transformative work and is protected under fair use law, YouTube's Content ID system doesn't recognize it and still flags the video and either blocks it or takes away your right to advertise on it. It's bullshit. It's utter misuse and abuse of copyright law, and to be completely honest with you, I'm pretty sure if a copyright lawyer actually got involved in the process, he would say it's illegal. So I think that it's pretty ridiculous that YouTube instituted this system in late 2013. Now, what was the resolution? Well, basically anyone who had this issue had to go under a managed partnership. And that's why the majority of YouTubers who actually do business on YouTube full-time, this is their livelihood, this is what they've done. They went to a managed partnership. What is that, you might ask? Well, a managed partnership is when the partnership that you have with a company allows that company to take legal responsibility for your content. So, for example, anything that I upload to DSP Gaming today is legally protected by Machinima. They are liable. So YouTube really couldn't go after me if they wanted to sue. They'd have to go after this big corporation, Machinima. YouTube, for whatever reason, says, well, for those people, you're protected because you have this basically big brother kind of looking out over you, and they don't issue Content ID matches against anything. And since I became a managed partner in early 2014, I've had maybe 2 videos that have been flagged for a Content ID period. It's that much of a difference of experience. For anyone who doesn't have a managed partnership on YouTube, it's a nightmare. They're constantly getting this issue. In fact, my girlfriend Leanna recently just tried to upload a playthrough of Life is Strange. Every single video that she uploaded got flagged for Content ID match for the music of the game. Now, she actually disputed that. She went back and said, no, this is a Let's Play, it's protected under fair use. Those claims got cleared up after 2 weeks. The problem is every new video she uploads in the playthrough gets reflagged. So basically every video she wants to do of that game has to go through a 2-week-long appeals process by which she says, no, this is fair use. Then it gets removed, and then finally the video goes live. But what's the point? if you have to wait that long, if you have to go through this big legal process because YouTube says you're guilty before you actually have any evidence against you, you're fucked. And it's completely not, first of all, immoral. It's lazy. And yeah, I actually believe it's illegal. It's a broken fucking process that YouTube uses for this content ID. Now, here's the big issue. There's some companies out there, like Nintendo, who, yeah, I'm going to call them out in this video, who tend to have this mentality that they own everything that has to do with them. They actually think, I'm not even joking you, every piece of fan art that you create, every fan montage, every game review, every Let's Play, everything you've ever done that has to do with Nintendo, they think they own it. Legally, they don't. In a court of law, if this went to court, and they had this big case about transformative work and fair use, they would lose. But they know they're the big dog. And right now, Nintendo's kind of hurting because, oh no, the Wii U was a huge flop. So what have they been doing for the past 2 years? Content ID claiming every video on YouTube under them. And we're not talking just the little guy, we're talking big guys. You know, Angry Joe, who for whatever reason decided not to go under a managed partnership actively. Don't ask me why, it makes no sense. He's had multiple issues with Nintendo doing this to his videos to the point where he's stopped doing Nintendo coverage altogether because he says it's not worth it for him to spend his time and not have making any money on it. It's his business and it's work that he makes nothing on. So the whole process is absolutely broken. And the bottom line is there's no protection. I literally have, no lie, on DSP Gaming, probably about 700 Nintendo-related videos that were Content ID flagged in late 2013. I disputed a bunch of them, and Nintendo said, no, we refuse to release the claims, and I never got them back. So literally, I will never make ad revenue ever again on any Nintendo game I played pre-2013. There's nothing I can do about it, and there's no legal recourse unless I actually try to sue Nintendo. So obviously, I'll never have anything cleared up, and the Content ID system is broken and a joke, and it's terrible on YouTube. Now let's go back to the copyright strike system, which is equally as broken as the Content ID. If you remember, I just mentioned in 2009 we had Rockstar, and then in 2010 we supposedly had Ubisoft, but really it turned out it was a guy named Steve Jones, or at least that's what he called himself, who had given me false copyright strikes against my stuff that were able to get cleared up. In mid-2015, I uncovered the most appallingly abusive use and biggest flaw in YouTube's copyright system that anyone has ever proven. You don't even need a scrap of evidence. You can just put a frivolous claim against anyone without even showing that you're related to the content, and you can get someone copyright stricken. In this particular case, I had fan art that was submitted to me on my forums, thekingofhate.com, in a thread that clearly stated this is fan art, meaning legally. You post something up there, you've given me legal recourse, or excuse me, a legal right to use it in my videos. I used fan art in some montages and things, intro. I used to do intro pre-streams when people were waiting for a stream to begin, and people really enjoyed those fan art montages. And I got copyright strikes for multiple pieces of fan art from someone who thought, oh, I'll get Phil. I don't like him, so I'm going to give him some fake fan art for a few months, and then I'm going to say, oh, it's my legal property, and I didn't give him permission. They actually got legitimate copyright strikes against both DSP Gaming, this channel, The King of Hate Vlogs, and there was no actual proof that, number one, they were the original owner of the artwork, or that, number two, that legal permission hadn't been given. They literally, YouTube just said, well, they claim that it's true, so it's true, and they gave me copyright strikes against my channels. It's fucking ridiculous. It's preposterous. It's absolutely out of control. Are you kidding me? Like, anyone? And here's the kicker. After that happened, I went back. And I actually started making every video private. I started taking any video that ever had fan art in it, and I started deleting them and making them private. Someone actually took, if you can believe this, a piece of artwork that was like me sitting here on my couch, and next to me was a Nintendo character that had been photoshopped into the picture. Okay? They linked that piece of artwork to the original work that character was ripped out of from Photoshop, okay? And they said, well, look, this is officially from Nintendo. It's on Nintendo's website, and I work for Nintendo. They actually said this in their message to YouTube. I work for Nintendo, and I want to legally claim this in this piece of fan art that's in a montage on Phil's channel. And YouTube bought it. They didn't have any confirmation the person worked for Nintendo. They basically just said, well, it's a match, so fuck it, and it got matched. So what does this tell you? Quite honestly, let's be honest here. What does this tell you? There are no humans who actually review the vast majority of copyright cases on YouTube. It's all automated. It's robots. And I don't give a shit what YouTube claims, because YouTube has claimed in forum posts and things that they have a team. The team must sit there with their thumbs up their fucking asses, eating fucking food and playing video games on the internet all day, because the bottom line is, no one reviewed these cases. No one with a fucking brain in their head could say, this guy must work for Nintendo, because obviously there's just the fact that he sent me this claim means that he works for Nintendo. It's insane. The people who gave me the false copyright strikes are teenagers. Teenagers. I'm pretty sure they're not professional con artists who are able to fool the YouTube team into thinking they actually worked for Ubisoft or Nintendo. No, the team is either the dumbest fucking team on the planet, or it's a bunch of robots that don't actually review anything. So you might say to yourself, I don't even understand. Why does this system in place? What is the whole reason behind this system on YouTube? Let's get down to that discussion. So why does YouTube and its parent company, Google, even have a content ID match system? Why does it have this broken copyright strike system? Well, it's very simple. You might think, well, it's to protect the rights of the copyright holders, right? No, that's not what it's there for. Oh, well, it's there to make sure that no one's blatantly stealing stuff and making a living ripping off other people. You know, it's doing it all because we want to be morally right, right? No. The reason that either of these broken systems exist on YouTube is because YouTube does not want to get sued by anyone. It's that simple. And that's why these exist and they're broken. Because they don't care if actual copyright law gets enforced on YouTube. They don't care if the right thing gets done. YouTube does not give two shits. What YouTube cares about is that YouTube brings in ad revenue every month from everyone's videos, and they don't get any million-dollar lawsuits against them, and then they're happy. So really, that's the reason. They hired bots, they wrote algorithms, they deployed all this shit all over their website to match everyone's fucking videos to stuff without having a human eye review it to see if any of it's fair use, and the entire reason was to legally protect their own ass from litigation and monetary loss. Period. That's actually why, if you get a false copyright strike put against your channel and you have legal proof that it didn't happen, that it's not legit, and you submit that to YouTube, YouTube will not remove the copyright strike. They will wait 2 weeks from when that fake strike was initially put against you to remove it. Do you want to know why? Because legally, legal action has to be taken within 2 weeks of this claim from the company who supposedly filed the claim, or else they have no legal claim to it. So again, why is a 2-week time period there? It's not so that there's enough time for each party to go back and forth. It's because YouTube legally has to provide 2 weeks for a lawsuit to be issued, or else they're in the wrong. So as soon as the 2 weeks expires, they don't give two shits. Oh, they'll release the false claim, but they won't do it beforehand because, again, we don't want a lawsuit. Everything in this system is for YouTube, YouTube, YouTube. It's the most selfish, self-aggrandizing, greedy, protective practice pretty much ever on the fucking internet besides a Ponzi scheme. It's ridiculous, and the fact that we've been putting up with this for so fucking long is atrocious, it's bad, and finally, at least, we're getting some kind of a voice behind it. Now, I'm gonna be honest with everyone here, because you know that I am one of the realest motherfuckers on the internet. I'm pissed. Do you wanna know why I'm pissed? Because I've been talking publicly about how broken this YouTube copyright system is since 2009, when I got my initial copyright strike from Rockstar Games. And I screamed in the face, and I talked on Twitter, and I talked on social media, and everyone knew that this was happening, but nothing happened. YouTube never actually contacted me to talk to me directly. The only satisfaction I ever got was after I became a managed partner with Machinima, and they actually started directly talking with YouTube and getting answers for me. But it seems to me, and it must be apparent, that if the little guy has an issue, tough shit. We don't care unless you're a company that's bringing in hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars in ad revenue. Fuck you. We don't care. Little fish, you get swept under the rug because we know you don't have the money or the clout to sue us. So we don't care. You can complain till you're blue in the face. No one will give a shit. But why is this finally becoming such a big issue? Well, the bottom line is Doug Walker, who is one of the primary guys, actually him and his brother who are behind Channel Awesome on YouTube, okay? This is a network of people who over the years have come together to do things such as gameplay content, comedy skits, movie, nostalgic game reviews, things like that, television series. They're constantly using video content from TV, movies, video games. And the thing is, up until this year, primarily all of their stuff was over on a website called Blip TV. Doug Walker has been over on Blip TV forever. Like, he started on YouTube a million years ago, got popular, and immediately got shut down with false copyright bullshit. So he went to Blip TV, where they actually didn't put up with that shit. They protected the users. There was no issue with litigation or false copyright strikes or content ID claims. They didn't even have that bullshit. So he was fine. He was there until, unfortunately, they went out of business in 2015 because basically they didn't find a way to really compete with YouTube. So Doug had to bring him and all his Channel Awesome people over to YouTube, and now they're all uploading their videos, and guess what? They're all getting flagged for copyright. In fact, it got so bad that Doug had a video flagged in January from the Japanese studio Ghibli, not the American distributor, but the Japanese studio Ghibli, flagged one of his kind of reviews of a Studio Ghibli movie, and he lost all monetization on his YouTube channel for some 3 weeks. Now, the thing is, most people don't talk about behind-the-scenes stuff like that, but I always have. Every time I got a false copyright strike, every time I ever had an issue, I brought it up publicly, and I tried to drum up public interest in it so people understand what's going on. The problem is, it seems like no matter what we did over the years, how much we talked about it, we raged against the machine, YouTube just doesn't give a shit. And it's kind of sad because how many people had copyright issues over the years and never really had any kind of voice heard, or no one really responded to them because YouTube didn't care. All of a sudden, Channel Awesome, Doug Walker, we're having problems now. He makes a video about a week ago about this issue, basically citing everything I already have talked about for the past 7 years. His video gets 1 million hits. Everyone gets a viral movement on YouTube about this. Oh, now all of a sudden YouTube cares because it's actually, I'll show you right now a tweet. There is actually a tweet that was put up by the CEO of YouTube today stating, oh, thanks for your concern. Don't worry, we're listening. And then they posted a link to a Google article. Now, I'm going to summarize what the Google article said. It basically says this. Hi, my name is like Spencer or Spent. I don't know what his name is. Spence. I work for the YouTube team, and I just want to let you all know we actually do have humans who review copyright issues. Blatant lie, because if they do, they don't do their job well. And because of all the concern on YouTube now about fair use, we're going to actually have more internal things going on. We're going to have another team who reviews things to make sure that things are legit. And that's basically the gist of the post. It's basically PR. It's called fluffing. It's called, let me walk up and stroke your dick for a second so you feel better, when in reality we've given no evidence that we've actually tried to do anything to improve fair use on YouTube at all. And that's the bottom line is, wow, there's a tweet, and her tweet has like some 2,000-3,000 retweets or some shit, and the post has, everyone responding to it, and it's like, but what did YouTube do? And the bottom line is, the major problem here with YouTube, what it's always been with YouTube, is that they have this elitist attitude that what they do is right, what you say is wrong, they know better than you, and they don't care if you like it or not when they institute stuff like this. But YouTube always has had this attitude. They think they know better than you, and every time they've ever asked for feedback or made a change, everyone rages against them and says, no, this change sucks, don't do this, we don't like this, and they fucking do it anyway. They are the worst company ever that I've ever experienced who just basically disregard market feedback. They take all this feedback from everyone and say, well, thanks for saying that you don't like this stuff. Fuck all that. We're doing it anyway because we're Google and we're rich and we got a monopoly on video sharing. And honestly, that's why ultimately I don't think anything's going to actually happen in the terms of fair use. And let me explain why. Sadly, with companies like Google, they don't like to listen to anyone because they think they're the big fish. And the bottom line is they are. Google is the big fish. They are filthy rich. They have a ridiculous amount of money. They know that even if they get sued, they can survive multiple lawsuits. And that's why they don't listen to anyone's feedback. They literally think that they are better than everyone else because they're a rich company. And they have a monopoly on video sharing. There have been companies that have tried to step up and compete with YouTube, such as Blip TV, and you've got other ones like Vimeo and stuff like that. And they do not even have a shred of the kind of viewership of what YouTube has because Google has the money to buy unlimited servers, to have 1080p 60 frames per second video streaming with no buffering or issues. They literally have millions upon millions of videos uploaded to the website a day and they can handle that. And that's the difference between YouTube and anyone else. They have literally destroyed all competition and have a monopoly on a cultural phenomenon that has become incredibly profitable. So even with all the people that have stepped up and said, we want this to change, it will not change until someone sues YouTube. It's that simple. If some of these big YouTubers who have issue with it, if any of these, maybe not even a YouTuber, but someone who's has a lot of money, a game developer, even someone who just has investment capital, and they really want to see something change on YouTube, you got to sue them. And what you need to do is do a class action lawsuit. Big people who have had strong monetary issues with their business because of the copyright system of YouTube, they need to sue YouTube and say, no, what you done is illegal. You filed copyright claims and legal actions against my business. You shut down my business for a period of time that cost me this amount of money, and I want this amount of money plus this many damages for your misuse of the American copyright law, and I want to fucking have a change to YouTube. If YouTubers don't band together to do this, there will never be an actual change of the policy of YouTube, because there will be no reason for them to do so. They only have their policy to protect them. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about anyone who's uploaded content to their website ever. I will repeat that. Google, who owns YouTube, is making tons of money on ad revenue on YouTube every day off of your and my work. We make videos for Google and YouTube. We give them our work. They make money on our work, but they don't care. They're literally getting free money, and they don't care, because all they care about is making more free fucking money. How greedy can you be? I mean, that is the essence of greed. And yet, the CEO of YouTube has the audacity to tweet, "We care about YouTubers. Here, see, we made a nice little PR post on our website." Wow. I mean, no. Just the fact that that tweet went out and that post went out shows they don't care. If they actually cared, they would immediately say, concretely, here is what we have changed. We have fixed the copyright system. Here's what we've done. We don't want a fucking blow of smoke up our fucking ass because we're not morons. I've been on YouTube since 2007. I've been around the block. I know how it works legally. You cannot fucking fool me and pull the wool over my eyes and make me think it's all sunshine and rainbows because you tweeted a tweet and you made a fucking forum post. Show me concrete evidence that stuff is improving on YouTube with the copyright system, and then maybe I'll fucking stop, raging about it. But the bottom line is, I've been doing this since 2007. I had issues with the system since 2009. I've always come out and publicly talked about it. The system is complete and utter fucking bullshit. And I'm honestly, God's honestly, I'm surprised that it took this long for at least someone with YouTube with big viewership and clout to fucking speak up about it. Because I'm sure that there are people big on YouTube who've had this issue. Maybe they just sweep it under the rug. Because the bottom line is this. Let's say that a bunch of YouTubers do band together and they make a class action lawsuit and they sue YouTube. Guess what? YouTube's just going to find a reason to kick their ass off the website. So it's kind of like you have to deal with actual illegal actions on YouTube from YouTube staff and YouTube corporate policy, and you have no recourse, because if you try to sue them, they could just find another reason to get rid of you anyway, and they have a monopoly, so you're fucked. If you're someone who makes video content for the internet and you're kicked off YouTube, you're fucked. Because where else are you going to go to put out your videos, right? And I think that's why it's taken this long for anyone to even speak up besides me. And that's why it's just becoming a big issue now, because you got people like Doug Walker who now, he has nowhere else to go. Blip TV is gone. So he has to fucking speak up to try to get YouTube fixed, because or else he can't make videos anymore. Because he'll just constantly get content ID, copyright strike, content ID, copyright strike, and get his whole business shut down. I certainly don't agree with that. I've been through the ringer myself. It's fucking bullshit. And I just don't understand it anymore. I've always been one of the most vocal people against this bullshit, and quite honestly, the only reason that I felt that it took me so long to make this video about the subject is because I am one of the most vocal people about it. I've always come out and talked about it publicly, so I didn't know if people would really want to hear stuff that's happened to me and get my take on it. But I got enough people this week who kind of contacted me and said, Phil, will you make a video? Will you make a video? I had some spare time tonight. I said, all right, you know what? Let me share my experience. That's my take on where's the fair use. That's my personal experience. Hopefully, at least, this has been entertaining to you and or informative and will hopefully help some people. I don't know, but people wanted me to make a video on it, so I did. That's it, everyone. Thanks for watching. See you later.